we've got Rick Schnabel, who's going to talk about his book, The Secrets of Creating a Life Beyond Limits. And I'm really excited because I know I'm going to learn a lot. We've had some pretty snappy presenters here in the last few years for book lovers, but I'm really just draw your attention to how well dressed Rick Schnabel is tonight. And if you haven't seen his shoes, really do make a point of actually having a look at his shoes. But without further ado, Mr. Rick Schnabel.
What I've now understood is there is essentially three things that can totally transform your life. And those three things are essentially your psychology, your actual patterns, the things that you do on a regular basis, and your story. So whatever you keep telling other people. My story. My story is that essentially I came from immigrants who immigrated to Melbourne, and both of them had difficulties with language, and both of them equally came from very poor backgrounds, and their grandparents came from very poor backgrounds. And once upon a time we actually believed that poor was almost like DNA. That if you had parents, there's a saying, you know, rotten fruit doesn't fall far from the tree, you know, etc., etc. They're just simply cultural belief systems. It doesn't take long to start listening to your parents' beliefs and start believing that those beliefs are true. I went through the Life Coaching Academy, then I came upon a science called Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Essentially, short NLP is what it's short for. And what I began to realise is that many of my belief systems were really holding me stuck. And I had a limiting belief. And that limiting belief was that I could never earn six figures. So that was my belief. It was a glass ceiling. It didn't matter whether it was 110 or 105 or whatever it was. I didn't believe I could ever earn six figures. And so what happened essentially, you know, I could earn 89,000, I could earn 98,000, but I could never earn 100,000. And in this job, I couldn't even earn a cent. I was actually paying them money. So what happened was I began to realize that my mindset, as I began to understand how mindsets work, I realized the reason that I was not successful in sales was because of a belief I had. And I don't know whether you share this belief, but I used to believe that salespeople were sleazy. I used to believe that salespeople would sell their own grandmother. I used to believe that salespeople would do anything to make money and didn't care about anybody. In my value system, people rank fairly high. And so, therefore, I had a conflict in my own values. So if you think about it, if I ever got to six figures in sales, my belief system would be that, therefore, I must be sleazy, I must sell my grandmother, I must do anything to make the money. Does that make sense? When I realized that, one of the most powerful questions you can ever ask yourself is, what if everything I believe about this situation is wrong? Just to get a sense, who here actually is pretty cool about being wrong most of their lives? Awesome. Most people are not. Most people do not like being wrong about anything. And so as a result of that, if you have a belief, whether it serves you or whether it does not, you'll defend it anyway. So the thing is, I had this belief and I thought about it and I thought, is it really true? The first thing I realised is that most of my sales friends, A, were very good conversationalists. B, they'd ask me more questions about who I was than my non-sales friends. They were more interested in me than my non-sales friends. Not only that, whenever I decided to move house, it used to be my sales friends that used to, you know, put up their hand and say, I'll help. And I thought, I'm completely wrong about this. I am absolutely completely wrong about this. So as a result of that, I changed my beliefs. I listened to a tele class, and the tele class was essentially about prosperity thinking. It was about how we can begin to think a certain way and have certain beliefs that determines our very behaviour. Now that linked with a lot of the study that I was doing with NLP, and I began to realise that my programming was really stopping me from achieving a lot of things.